Conceivers.
Hey.
Welcome back to
Hey.
the Real Closings Live Draw.
Today we're going to be drawing up our character that we made, I guess not last week, but 2 weeks ago.
Well, I may try drawing the character from last week as well. But we'll
Okay,
see.
well, yeah, we can.
We'll
you can
work
draw.
on the first character. The first character is going to be an easy design, but let's refresh everybody's memory about what that character was. So, Terrance, do you want to start it off? Do you have a little blurb? Okay.
Yeah, so David Daigo was just your average Japanese-American U.S. Marshal, dedicated to the pursuit of justice.
Then a cop from the future revealed to him that his family was impossible and his existence a temporal anomaly.
Upon the future cop's death, Marshal Daiko took the officer's sword and now slices his way from parallel timeline to parallel timeline in search of answers.
David Daigo is the Time Blade. Okay, it doesn't sync up. Well, it may sync up. I don't know. It's hard to say. So that's it. That's the character, and we decided he kind of looks like David Tennant with a sword. I think that was something that we had kind of.
David Tennant with a giant sword. Doctor Who with a sword. Pretty cool.
So he's a marshal. All right, so let's get to drawing.
All right.
We also like to talk about the media that we have consumed. Oh, you know what I forgot? Forgot my little lap disc. So, okay, the big news. Oh, we actually had an assignment this time from the last.
Oh, that's right. We've been
that the Black Panther was coming out. So we decided to go. Not only did we go see the Black Panther, we also read through one of the Black Panther series from, was it the mid-2000s or the mid-2010s? I think it was mid-2000s.
Yeah, I think it was mid-2000. So,
and now it's like we read it much quicker than we were expecting, so I'm actually kind of forgotten some of the stuff. But anyway, let's talk about the movie first, because that's fresh in our minds.
Yeah. Well, the movie. Dave, go ahead and give your take on the movie.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, it was. I thought. I liked it better than the first Black Panther.
Really?
And I actually, I did. Because the first Black Panther, I thought that there was too much world building, and it didn't really get interesting until Killmonger actually made it to Wakanda. So that was like the first third of the film or something. So there was a good portion that I didn't really. I mean, I didn't dislike it. It's just I didn't think it was very effective. But I like once it got to Wakanda and all the themes, the interesting themes came out. I thought that was pretty cool. But I think part of the deal was Ryan Coogler, the director. I felt like I don't know that he was necessarily great with dealing with a huge budget. Whereas with this new one, I think he was much more comfortable with dealing with the big budget special effects and more importantly, I mean, he comes from indie films, making indie films and smaller films.
What did he make before?
Fruitvale Station was how he came on the scene.
That's what it was.
Small
film.
film.
I didn't realize he did that until after this.
And stylistically a very different kind of film. And then he also did Creed. He did the first two Creed movies.
Right.
And those are more street level films, and they've got kind of more of a documentary feel to it. And the thing that really got me with this Black Panther, which really got me, was from the first time that Namor and I'm going to call them Atlanteans, even though they're not Atlanteans, the Mer people.
What are they?
They're Telo. I would have to look it up, but I love the revamping of the stuff. But the thing that really got me was that once they invaded Wakanda for the first time to give their ultimatum, and then from that point to when they're preparing for the 1 week later thing, there's this wonderful montage that feels very indie, small scale movie, and it's like all this overlapping dialogue over the action of they're plotting, they're planning what they're going to do, and I just absolutely love that montage, and pretty much I thought the special effects battle sequence was really well done, and I appreciate any movie where it has battle sequences that actually have meaning. There's actual, it's not just aimless fighting, and I thought they did a good job of actually putting that together. I also appreciated how kind of intimidating the mer people were, because if you looked at like Aquaman, which I actually really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Aquaman. I thought that was a fun movie.
I probably should have rewatched Aquaman.
I thought it was a really fun movie, but at no point did I ever feel intimidated by the Atlanteans in that. They just didn't feel that fearsome, It just felt like a fun action film. This one, it was really kind of scary seeing some of the mer people stuff.
Yeah,
horrifying, and so it was like, yeah, that's pretty scary. Did you ever see Jack the Giant Killer?
I did. I only vaguely remember it, though.
The one thing about that was that, usually they depict giants as slow and lumbering, and it's sort of like, why are they even scary? They might accidentally fall on you, right? But in Jack the Giant Killer, they showed how fast they were and how much having that giant length was really, really scary. And I kind of felt, and I'm not saying the Jack the Giant Slayer was that great a film, but that aspect of it was really interesting to me. And the way that they used the mer people in this film, I thought made it kind of scary. I also like Namor. You know what? I was worried. The big worry for me about Namor was that he wasn't going to be an arrogant prick, which is what he normally is. Admittedly, he is not quite like Namor of the comics.
No.
But he comes off as a little unhinged.
Yeah.
And inconsistent, sort of like he's calm one minute and he's like, but then again, we're doing this, and he's like doing intimidation tactics.
Yeah. Because that aspect of him, I think, carried over well without quite capturing that general snarkiness or whatever of Namor. Because I was worried about how they were going to make him be that guy, but I think they did a good job.
I appreciated it. I thought he was. Part of it was this movie, The Black Panther's dead. That's non-canonical with any comic. So already, this is like an alternate reality from the comics, right? I mean, far more than you get with most of them, right? And I actually really liked the way they revamped. I mean, I don't know that they had to get rid of Atlantis. I guess there's some. They said it was because of racist stuff with Atlantis. I'm not sure. But
really? I hadn't heard that.
I heard that, but I think it also probably had more to want to differentiate from Aquaman. Yeah. But I liked what I thought was kind of cool was that it added a lot more color to the character and that society without really changing any of the dynamics. I thought the dynamics between Namor or Namor and Atuma and Namora, those are the dynamics that you see in the comic books. It's they're kind of serving him, but they're also rivals, and they're chiding him for stuff. Yeah, so I thought that was
for stories there. Yeah,
they didn't give anything up. So anyway, I babbled on enough about it, but I was very satisfied. I thought it was the best Marvel movie since at least Endgame, possibly Infinity War. And I see Terrance says Terrance far more critical than me. So let's hear it, Terrance. What was your take?
I was gonna just say my only beef with it, and it really, and I knew it was coming, and I knew it was gonna be there, and I loved what they did with Namor, with the Atlanteans, with the whole conflict. Actually, was great and fantastic. Just like the motives, the reasoning, everything about that. I was disappointed with Ironheart that she just got
really.
Yeah, well, just that she was just like, okay, here I am. Okay, I got a suit. All right, and it was, I don't know. That character had 3 beats in the movie.
I actually really liked Ironheart. I like the way
No,
that
I like the character. I just think they didn't do that character justice to in really
I don't know the comic
a
book
little more of. Well, we'll just tell you a little bit more of the character, like letting the character be more than she was. Very, I felt to me very two dimensional in that movie. Like she didn't get. It was just like, oh, she made a thing. Oh, and she's got a super suit, and now she's got a whole super suit from Wakanda, and she's fighting with everybody. And it was like, she has no. I don't know. It was very light storytelling with her. I don't know. My other gripe, and it's like, and I know that Chadwick Boseman was dead, so they couldn't really do anything with him. But the way that they started with, and I guess, spoiler alert, right? I guess, but the way that they treated his death in the film felt so like the off-page death of him, and the just it wasn't that grief didn't feel earned to me. This is my best way of saying it.
Okay, I'll buy that. I did not. Yeah, I'll buy that.
I know that people seeing the film bring those feelings in, and people who cared about the character, and I believe everybody cared about Chadwick, and that everybody was feeling things to some degree. But when I was watching the movie, I was expecting the movie to make me feel something, and it just was like it didn't really resonate to me in the movie. Like, it just wasn't earned. Like, I needed more explanation for why the Black Panther is dead, more of something in there at the start, because if I'm thinking about the actor dying at the beginning, then I'm also thinking about the actors that are still there and not the story. Yeah, I don't know. So
I agree. It did not hit me as much in that regard.
Yeah, that disrupted my buy-in to the beginning of the movie, which then kind of affected parts of like how I felt throughout it. Every time they went back to the the grief parts of it, was like, well, there's the one woman, what's her face, the Shuri. Like, there was all the controversy about her being an anti-vaxxer, right?
Yeah.
And so when she's there at the beginning, I'm going to fix this with science, but I'm thinking of her as the actress.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
Are you really going to fix it with science? I mean, I just kind of felt the urge to heckle her during the beginning, which is this whole emotional scene of her trying to save Black Panther, and it's like, but it doesn't hit for me because I got nothing to feed off of aside from what I bring in, because they gave me nothing. So I don't know. That was my problem with it, and I think that colored my perception. It was a good film, and I really liked it, and I probably would like it more the next time I saw it.
Sure.
Than the first time, because I went in, and I just felt like the story wasn't complete because it had to be. You had to already know that he was dead. You're right. That there's something. It just felt lacking in that to me. But I would not have made it, the best since Endgame. Definitely not. But it was a solid movie. It's probably the best current film that they've done.
Well, how far back would you go for that, though?
Oh, I'd have to think about that. I mean, like,
I like Black Widow a lot.
I did like Black Widow a lot. I'd say it was better than that. Yeah.
It's like, if it was better than Black Widow.
Well, actually, that's
Endgame.
That is Endgame. No, you're right. Okay.
So I'm not lying.
No, you're right.
Infinity War was better. I thought Infinity War was. Endgame was kind of like a mixed bag, right? There was like. I mean, I thought Endgame was great, but there was a lot of fan service, and it was a little ramshackle compared to some of the, like, Infinity War was just so, it was a really tight story. I mean, about as tight as you could expect with such a huge cast. Mm-hmm. And then Um, yeah, whereas Endgame was a little bit more scattershot, and I thought there were some great things about Endgame. I loved it, but to me, it was sort of like every other Avengers movie is kind of like the first Avengers movie was pretty tight. Second movie was a little bit scatterbrained. Third movie was really tight, and then the last one was kind of scatterbrained. Scatterbrained is not the right word, but it was like it was not as tight. It was just looser storytelling. It was more of a Shaggy Dog story in some ways.
Yeah.
And Infinity War was super duper tight, right? I mean, it was some tight storytelling, and it was kind of devastating storytelling. Anyway, the point is, I basically mean is I think it was the best film of the recent batch. The second, basically this wave, which is what, wave 4, wave 5,
phase
the
4.
post Infinity War wave. Now, should we talk about the comic, or do we even remember that well enough?
Well, the comic. Okay, so the best parts, because like once we got to like the part where he gets to Atlantis, it was really Civil War, right? So
yeah, it wasn't really. Yeah, so we didn't really get much dynamic of the whole. I mean, the whole point of it was to figure out what was the dynamics between Namor and Wakanda. We didn't get it from that particular run. It's possible that's a bigger deal in other runs. Wasn't Namor at the bachelor party?
Was he there? Oh, now I'm trying to remember. I know that whole series of Black Panther. That was just a great run. I gotta say that.
Well, there was once we got to the zombies, the Marvel zombie part. That's where I kind of bailed out. But I thought it was great up to that point, and I thought the humor was really fantastic. I think what was like some of the early issues. I mean, the early issues was the first 3 or 4 issues were just establishing it as and that was good. And I thought that was the John Romita Jr. issues. Kind of was like a mini series in its own right. But then they had. But then after that, it was almost like Marvel team up. It felt like to me, there was a new batch of heroes that he was teaming up with every issue or every 2 issues.
Yeah, the whole the Black Avengers.
Yeah, the Black Avengers thing was cool, but also the X-Men. I just love some of the.
Oh, the X-Men one was hilarious.
That was because he's just busting. He's just all these wonderful digs on the X-Men or the version of the X-Men that was there at the time. But that was the thing that the humor was so. I really love the humor of the whole thing, and just the. It's kind of smug humor, but it was good smug humor. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you guys are crazy. Yeah, so I liked it. I thought it was good, and the getting married to Storm thing. I thought it was going to be gimmicky and maybe a little bit kind of questionable. But I think they did it really well. They handled it really well.
No, I think they did a great job because I totally hated the idea. And then I read it, and it was fantastic.
The guy's a good writer.
Why would they get married? Never in 1,000 years. It's like, oh, no, they totally belong together. They should be together forever. I always wanted Storm to get together with Thor. After the one where she goes and she becomes Storm the Thunderer, like in Asgard, when the X-Men go to Asgard.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, oh, Storm and Thor should get together, and they should have a baby, and they should name it. They should name it Tempest, and and it would just be perfect. So that was always, if I ever got to write, that's where I'm going.
No, I like that. But I thought they made it work. And that was really good. That was really good. I enjoyed that series again up to the zombies, and which point I bailed out. This was right when they became the Fantastic Four, basically, when Reed and Sue decided to take a break. Which I think that was kind of because I didn't think. You what? You didn't get up that far?
Right up to the zombies, yeah.
But I thought that was. I'll admit, I thought it was a brilliant idea to do that. To have them replace Reed and Sue, but I don't think the execution quite worked there. But I think I'd like to see it again. And maybe it got better as it went. But I don't like Marvel zombies. I mean, I like being a Marvel zombie. I am a Marvel zombie, or I was back in the 80s. But speaking of more Marvel, okay, does the hat look like a pirate cap or does it look like a cowboy hat?
The little curly cue of hair, it's like a little baby bonnet right now. Is what I'm seeing.
It looks like a baby bonnet. Okay. Well,
it's a little, but I don't know. I'm having difficulty with anything today, apparently.
Because I kind of want to have. I want to do the Texas Ranger kind of thing a little bit. So I want to have him actually have a cowboy hat. I want him to be a little bit Walker Texas Ranger. Because originally he was going to be a Texas
Ranger. He was going to be a Texas Ranger. I'm like, why?
No, we just turned him into a U.S. Marshal. But when you think U.S. Marshal, you think Westerns, and then Westerns have hats. I don't know, his proportions here look wrong. But I've been watching tons of. I subscribed to Disney Plus, so specifically so that I could watch some of the Marvel television stuff, which I've been way behind on. I've been watching the movies, but not the TV stuff. And I watched She-Hulk. That was one that Terrance. Or I was going to watch it all from the beginning. Start with I'd watched some of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then I decided to start watching Daredevil. But Terrance was like, watch She-Hulk. So I watched She-Hulk, and I thought She-Hulk was great. It felt to me like it was.
Did you watch Miss Marvel?
Not yet. No.
Okay. That one.
No, I decided after watching She-Hulk to go back to the Daredevil. So I watched, and I downloaded a timeline of what order to watch everything in, so I've been trying to catch up from the beginning.
Okay.
And I thought
the Disney ones are separate from the Netflix ones, right? So, because you're watching the Netflix ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're not.
Well, like Luke Cage.
The Netflix ones do relate to the alien invasions and and stuff. So, I mean, it's not unrelated. I mean, and it looks like it's going to ultimately be canon because they're going to bring back all the characters. They're going to have the Kingpin and right. I mean, all the same actors, right? So,
well, at least for Daredevil, are they? Have you heard anything about anybody else?
Yeah, I don't know about Jessica Jones or Luke Cage. I don't know. I presume they're going to recast Iron Fist.
All they need to do is just do Colleen Wing and forget Iron Fist altogether. Honestly,
well, I'd be disappointed. I mean, I love Colleen Wing. Don't get me wrong. I love.
I'm just saying, out of that series,
she
was out of that series, though, she was the best.
That's what I have next up in my queue because I just finished Luke Cage season 1.
Okay.
But okay. She-Hulk was great. I think we both really liked that. The last episode was cool with the breaking of the fourth wall and all that stuff, which is very She-Hulk. She-Hulk did it before Deadpool. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And Howard the Duck did it before all of them. But but Daredevil, I think Daredevil was so good. I mean, I have a couple quibbles here. I thought Stick was kind of introduced very quickly and shallowly, though he came in more of a thing in the second, was a bigger deal in the second season. But aside from that, I thought it was done just about as well as you would hope for a live action show. Oh, by the way, one thing about Daredevil. One thing that kind of pisses me off about the Marvel movies at this point is they all have these kind of breakaway helmets or whatever. They just sort of disappear at key dramatic moments and then they back up. It's like they're magical helmets, right? And normally it doesn't bother me. It really bothered me in this Black Panther film
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because Okoye is my favorite character
Mm-hmm.
from that, and I love the suit that she got. But I thought when they did the breakaway thing that she looked really stupid
Yeah.
when they took the helmet down because it had like the little bit of blue behind her, and it just looked bad. And it was like, oh, come on, guys.
I was like, I'm hoping that they don't leave her in that suit because it's horrible. And as
Oh, I like the suit.
my understanding is that that's some other character, like the other woman. It's like that woman and somebody else are the people that are those people.
Well, I like the suit. I like the design of the suit. I actually like the designs of all the suits. Um, but I didn't like the breakaway stuff, and that really just stood out to me.
No, yeah, and part of it is
in Daredevil, they don't need to do that.
right.
It's dramatic even with the helmet on. And this was something I remember. This was a little while ago, but I remember watching Return of the Jedi, and I was watching Darth Vader in his final battle with Luke in that. And Darth Vader, of course, has a stiff helmet throughout the whole movies, all the movies, right? It doesn't emote, right? It doesn't. It's not. It doesn't flex. It doesn't move. But it's like, why is that helmet able to emote so much? Because it's like you never feel like. I mean, you feel nuance in the performance of Darth Vader, right?
Right.
And I decided it had to do with shadows. There are points where he looks sad. There are points where he looks angry, and I think it really just has to do with lighting. And that made me feel like, well, they just need to do that with superheroes too. I understand they're paying like the big bucks for these actors, and you want to see their faces and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But with Daredevil, what they did is he had the helmet on, most of the battles and stuff, and then at the very end, there's this point where his helmet gets knocked off, and you do have a moment of emoting and stuff. But it means that much more when it happens.
I mean, yeah, you watch The Mandalorian, and it's like, Ooh, actually, have you watched The Mandalorian yet?
I have not watched The Mandalorian yet.
Oh my
god! How do they handle the helmet stuff?
Well, he wears a helmet the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, like for the first, like, oh my goodness, when did we finally see him without the helmet? It's a long time before that helmet comes off at all. So and it's just they're committed to the idea, I don't know. And to me, it's kind of like, why would you take your helmet off in the middle of fighting, Like, I want you to see my face. It's like, no, that seems stupid. Yeah, that bothers me when they do that.
Yeah, it's something that I've given a pass on for most of the films, but at this point, it's just bugging me.
But at the same time, now being like, I don't know, having gone with COVID and all this, how many people like, oh, there's a deadly disease, so you need to wear your mask. Oh, but I want you to hear what I'm saying clearly, so I'm taking it so you can hear me.
A lot of people do that.
Like, that was the whole, like, no, you're supposed to wear the mask for good reason.
Yeah.
But you're going to take it off anyway. So I guess that's behavior.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not actually drawing here. You're drawing a big old butcher knife.
Yeah. I'm having trouble deciding how my character is going to be holding it, and so.
Well, yeah, it's like, is this a techno sword or what's the deal?
And that's where it's like, yeah, it's like I want it to be gigantic, so I'm like,
yeah, I suppose. Well, did you look at the picture of the knife that was inspired this, right?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, if you go back to the character.
I couldn't find it. I just found the Squirrel Girl.
Oh, you have to scroll down to the very bottom. That's where I put that's where I archive everything. I can bring it up on screen here.
Because like right after, oh, I see there. Because like after that, it had the Cryomander.
Yeah, you gotta scroll all the way down.
I just had it going. I see. Oh yeah. Now I'm seeing that blade.
So like it's a.
Yeah. Now you've screwed up my whole design here. It's like a type of knife. I forget what it's
Well,
called.
that is a knife. Should it be a?
It was like a, I forget what it's called. And I only know like because I watched Forged in Fire or whatever. that show where people make knives. I don't know if anybody in chat knows that answer. Where it's wider on one end and thinner on the back.
It's got kind of a weird. I don't know, but I guess it's more like a cutlass. I guess that's interesting. I wonder what a cutlass. Oh, a cutlass is not as big as I was thinking. Okay. Yeah, I think it looks more like a butcher knife. Okay, so Daredevil was really great. Then I watched Jessica Jones, and I thought it was really good. David Tennant did an amazing job as the Purple Man.
That was a great show. Yeah.
And I enjoyed Jessica Jones. I also subscribed to Marvel Unlimited so that I could read the comic versions of all these things. And unfortunately, the Jessica Jones, I think the initial Jessica Jones run, they don't seem to have it on there. I think it was called Alias. From what I can tell, that her big story arc with the Purple Man was during a comic called Alias Investigations.
Yeah, that was her.
But they don't have that, at least that I can find, in Marvel Unlimited, and I was kind of upset about that. I mean, the stuff that they have with Jessica Jones is after she's been established. They have her on some sort of newspaper beat or whatever. Or before she was established as a superhero, where she was apparently Peter Parker's schoolmate at some point.
Oh, really?
I didn't read that one, though, so I don't know the whole thing. But
yeah, no, I just know about the Alias book, which I had never read either. So,
but that was really great. That was a great show. And then Luke Cage. I got to Luke Cage. Oh no! Then I watched Daredevil season 2. That's the order you're supposed to watch them in. And that was, that one. It didn't have the Kingpin thing so much, but it was kind of interesting how that started off with kind of the first 4 episodes were about the Punisher. I thought the Punisher story was over, and that they were just moving on to Elektra at that point. But then as this thing went on, they started kind of weaving in all of the previous story elements. I thought that was really interesting, the way they had basically elements of the Punisher, Elektra, and the Kingpin all kind of coming together. And I thought that was pretty cool. But then Luke Cage is the one I just finished, and that one was very interesting because the first 2 episodes I thought were kind of slow. Had a lot. It was very stylish. It reminded me a lot of Agent Carter's first season, where they had all this great kind of style to it. In that case, period style. But it was just a little bit lacking in energy. But then in the 3rd episode, as soon as there's a rocket launcher to a coffee shop, everything really picked up. And I thought it was really pretty great until the end. But tonally, it is all over the place because you have like Oscar-winning actors in there. You have Alfre Woodard, who, by the way, looks fantastic. She was like 65 at the time she did that, and she was playing the older sister or older cousin of Mahershala. Oh God, I'm probably mispronouncing his name. Mahershala Ali's character. like 20 years difference age-wise. But they're both like brilliant actors, right? Brilliant actors. They all have really nuanced, well-developed characters. They know what they're doing as actors. Then you have our 2 leads, which are Misty Knight and Luke Cage's characters, and they're very charismatic, but their range is not as long. And then and then you have when Diamondback shows up, he is like a full-on mustache twirling villain from very much a comic book character, and he knew he was in a comic book movie. And but it was interesting to see these kind of very different styles of acting going on. And you had this. It was interesting. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But it was a little schizophrenic at times. But by the end of it, I just absolutely was getting a huge kick out of the whole thing, and I appreciated the full on comic book villain thing that Diamondback was doing.
See, that was disappointing to me when they got to I thought it was all great, and then it's like, really, it was just changed it totally, and that I was like, I love the first half of that season, but then I could have done without that.
It was different. I mean, I kind of wish they had been a little bit more tonally consistent, but I thought all the individual parts were pretty much, I was pretty happy with. I'll admit, I know you like, who's the actor that plays Luke Cage?
Jim Coulter or something? No.
Something like that. Something Coulter. Coulter, maybe. Well, anyway, he's, I just think he's a little wooden. He's got like this perfectly modulated voice. He never gets that emotional.
But that's just because he's chill. He's Luke Cage. Yeah. I feel like that was the character. He was just like Luke Cage.
I get it. I mean, I see the draw for that. There was part of it that I wish they had somebody that emoted a little bit more. Now, of course, I've said that the guy who plays Mac in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I would have loved to have had him as Luke Cage.
Mike Coulter is his name.
Mike Coulter. I hope he's not related to Ian Coulter.
Because they look so much alike.
Well,
I'd seen the family resemblance.
Could have been, somebody might have been adopted. Who knows? But I liked him. You see, that's the thing. I really liked him. I liked him. There were just points where I was like, I don't know. I just felt like there would have been a little bit more. Oh, this is the other thing. Okay, this is the thing. I don't think he could say "Sweet Christmas" for the life of him. I didn't buy it anytime he would say that, because he didn't have enough emotion to say "Sweet Christmas," and that's like the catchphrase. That's like Luke Cage's catchphrase, right? So
but I don't think anybody's gonna really pull off. I mean, it's just such a weird I don't know. It's such a 70s black exploitation callback is how.
Well, you say it like you're in a black exploitation movie. That's what
they didn't make black exploitation. Luke Cage. Yeah, that was the thing that I never really liked about it.
Well, that's true. They did not do that. Sweet Christmas. Well, I don't know. I feel like you'd be able to find a way to say it. That would be Sweet Christmas. Sweet Christmas. Sweet. Here, say it. Help me say it. Sweet Christmas. Or Sweet Christmas. Sweet Christmas. Sweet Christmas. Anyway, but I enjoyed it. And it was, but it went through a wide variety of. There was a clash of tone. I didn't think it hurt it. I thought stylistically, I was kind of upset because I felt like in the first two episodes, it felt to me like they were trying to go for the handheld camera thing, but it struck me as being digitally added after the case. I don't know if that seemed like
it. Really? I would.
It was clear that they did it in a sound studio. Almost the whole show was in a sound studio. So, I think they probably had cranes and all sorts of stuff. But it struck me that they had very, rigid camera positions for everything, and then they kind of added a little shimmy to it. And I thought that it would have been better to have had genuine handheld cameras. And I would have liked. This is one case. One thing I really liked about Daredevil was I really did like how it was crystal clear. Everything was very, very clear and high-fi. But in this one, I In Luke Cage, I would have liked it to have been a little bit of a grittier, grain of film or video, you know. But anyway,
I mean, yeah.
that minor quibbles, minor quibbles. So I'm about ready to go into the Iron Fist, and so I'm scared because they've done a pretty good job. And Iron Fist was one of my favorite characters in the '80s. Do you have the sword just sort of exploding there, or what's the?
I'm trying to decide how he's posed, so now I've got him crouching with the sword.
Were you able to see through that in the screen a little bit more? Is that possible?
Let's see if
Right now, I can't. It's like cut off there.
I,
Oh, we should check to see if we have anybody on chat. Nope, nobody. Nope, the guy from last week has not come back. It looks a little bit like Snoot.
see, here's
okay, that sword design is going to be a thing. Boy. It could just be a gigantic butter knife that he whips out. Strikes me a little bit. Let's see. That knife that it's inspired by and strikes me as a little bit like an armadillo.
Armadillo.
Yeah, take a look at it. Like an armadillo shell?
I can kind of. I think I might have it. Now I want to move my image. I wonder what happens if I go to landscape. That won't work.
It's a time blade. Oh, I'm trying to think about it. This is an actual tool used by this time cop. So is this like a time cop like Jean-Claude Van Damme, or more like a time variance authority person like in the Loki thing? I wonder.
Did you watch Loki?
I've not watched Loki yet.
Watch Loki. I rewatched Loki with you. That was a good one.
Well, maybe we can. That'll be homework for next time. So
yeah, I don't know. I rewatched Loki before. What did I watch that? Before something came out. What was some?
Doctor Strange?
I think it was before Doctor Strange, just because I thought there would be more tie-in.
Yeah.
And
Well, it looks like Kang's going to be a big factor in the Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, actually, when you went to see Wakanda Forever, did you have the Kang in every film coming out? He's in the
I
next,
just saw in the Ant-Man. He was in what other film?
in the next Creed movie. He was in that. And then
Wait,
he was
Kang was in. Oh, you mean the actors in Creed?
yeah.
I was thinking. Well, actually, 'cause Ryan Coogler was the one who directed the first two Creeds, so
Yeah.
and he's a producer on that. So maybe he does slip Kang into it. I'm just thinking that'd be kind of funny if they started slipping characters into other mainstream films from Marvel movies, just to say there are no independent films anymore.
Right. Well, it's kind of like it becomes the same as my my headcanon of Samuel L. Jackson, where every character he's ever played is just Nick Fury in disguise. You know?
Oh, that's right.
Nick Fury's, the super spy, so he's got all these personas. So they're all Nick Fury. Like,
Absolutely. I like it.
especially love Nick Fury in Pulp Fiction. But the idea that, Kang, the multiple timeline, it's the same guy in all the movies.
Yeah. No, you totally can put that in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with this guy. So I wanted to do something more than just have him standing there with the giant sword.
This was going to be a simple design test. It's turning out to not.
Yeah, it's like it's really easy. We already know what he looks like, 100%.
Oh, there we go. There's my Marvel Unlimited. I'm reading Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. I was looking. Oh, the Night Nurse. That was interesting because I was looking up the character of Claire Temple, and because she shows up in Luke Cage, and I was like, oh, I thought she was the Night Nurse, and which I knew I thought was from a different comic book, and then I read it up, and it's like, oh, okay, Claire Temple was a character originally in the Luke Cage comic who ends up that they matched her up with the Night Nurse character. Now the Night Nurse was a character that was named Linda Carter, and this was in the 70s. And she actually there were like three main characters, and one of them was Christine Palmer, who ended up being Doctor Strange's love interest in the Doctor Strange movies. So those are the one character I don't think we've seen is Georgia Jenkins so far. She was the third character in that comic. But the Night Nurse was a real comic from the 70s that was an experiment. The experiment at the time was that it was all written by women. And it didn't involve any superheroics or anything, but there was a lot of melodrama to it. But it's interesting. I guess they decided to sort of reappropriate those characters later on in more recent history of Marvel. Interesting. It was around not quite a year. But okay, what am I looking for though? I want to mash up swords here. So let's see, katana. Katana is a Japanese sword, right?
Yeah.
That's typically used by a samurai, right?
I believe so.
So let's see here. What's another type of? There's a cutlass, which is kind of a big sword. So there we go. That's kind of that kind of cutlass, I think, is if there was a way to kind of mix and match a cutlass and a katana. Interesting. There's a lot of people named Katana. That's interesting. Wouldn't have expected that.
Is it girls' names? Like, I see a lot of.
Yeah, it's a girl's name. It looks like.
She could just be Cat.
Yeah, or Anya, Catania, no, or Anna,
Katie.
Katie. Yeah. Yeah. One of those bamboo swords. I don't know. See, a cutlass is kind of the quintessential big sword. I mean, I guess there's that whole Klingon sword thing.
The bat'leth.
Well, it's got those extra handles on it and stuff. I guess there's like, okay, this is the biggest sword ever used in battle.
Yeah, it would be some thing.
So it has an extra handle on it, basically. Oh wow! Here we go. Look at that. You see that?
Yeah.
That's gigantic. So when you say big sword, are you thinking like fat blade or just big sword?
Oh, I'm thinking if you look up like honestly, if you look up Naruto,
that's a swords. What kind of sword?
Look up the Naruto. I think they're the 7 sword masters or 7 swords, or something like that.
How do you spell that?
Naruto.
That's N as in Nancy?
Yes.
Narto?
UTO.
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 Oh wait, that's like isn't that the name of that cartoon series?
Yeah. Yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Naruto.
Okay, that's gonna show me the character.
No, look up the 7 swords.
Like this? Like that?
No, that's gonna see that actually down there. Over. That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
What Naruto? Oh, right here.
There's one. If you go down from where you are, like down and over to the right one. On your, I want to just move it for you.
Wait. Is it left column or right column?
Okay, on your.
There's this column.
Left column, not that column, the other one.
Okay.
And if you see the scale of that sword to that guy.
Right here?
Yes.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Is that like a real... Okay, I see. Interesting.
That's what was in my head.
See, now that would have to be made out of really lightweight metal, right?
Space age material, perhaps, something from the future.
Well, that looks a lot like I guess it was double staffed, but the weapon that Thanos used in Endgame.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, there's Thanos' sword from Endgame. I mean, if you chop that in half.
Yes, that's literally kind of what I'm thinking. It's like,
okay.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Hmm. Okay. So it's actually a pretty simple design.
And the movie I watched last night uh, in preparation for Thanksgiving,
In preparation for Thanksgiving.
we watched Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Oh, okay.
That's a fun movie. I hadn't seen that in ages.
That's a good film. Those aren't pillows. You're going the wrong way.
That's the
How does
best.
he? How does he know where we're going? That was a fun film. Do I have that backwards?
How's that?
Doesn't really look like a sword, but hey.
Well, he's slicing through the fabric of reality right here.
Yeah, whatever you say, man.
So you don't see the whole sword.
No, it's
That's
fine. It just doesn't feel like a sword.
All right.
It feels like he's holding on to, I don't know.
He's slicing through. It's like,
Actually, it looks like he's shooting something out of his wristwatch. Is what it looks like.
well, it should look like he's holding it with both of his hands. The health effect here. I'm struggling with this one.
This is interesting because, like, you were like so confident that it would be like a really easy one.
Well, okay, I could just like pull up, I could literally just pull up, a picture of the guy from Naruto and trace that and just put him in, make him look like David Tennant.
No, I'm not.
Right?
I'm not. Sure.
But I put him in a Doctor Who outfit. We're done. And so that was my main thought. Was like, oh, this will be simple because it's.
I think it's about taking a simple design, but then adding like little design elements to it, like the little frilly things. I don't know if you see what I'm doing here. Like make it really simple.
Well, yeah, no, that's I just wanted it to be a big sword. That's all. I mean, I didn't have it, being anything more than that.
Make it like decorated though.
Well, I wanted to be. I was playing with my other version of it was just making it having a little tech doohickeys, kind of like like warlock skin.
Oh sure, yeah.
Or it's just gonna have like a little bit of that.
I'm thinking like,
but then I don't really like that.
let's see, do we have any comments? Nope, nobody's watching us. Just hoping to get more Twitch stuff. I don't know, like, would the blade have little readouts and stuff on it? That could be interesting. I guess that's the thing. Sometimes it's like, what's the function? And is there a way to turn the function into interesting design? Because I mean, it does primary. I mean, I guess it doubles as a weapon, but its primary purpose is to slice through time.
Right.
Speaking of time, let's see, we've been on a little over an hour, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not the time that we started. No, I guess that is when we went to live. So,
yeah.
So I don't know what time you need to take off. Hey, I'm gonna run away for a sec. I'll be right back.
All right. I think that Doctor Who, if I'm going to go that route, keep you wearing tennis shoes. Our guy is Marshall. David Dago would in fact be, is he straight-laced cop? I guess that's the question. Is he a straight-laced?
What?
Is he a straight-laced cop from the start, or was he a little rogue? You know, basing him off of the David Tennant's Doctor, would he be a little, wild like the Doctor?
I think he's more like Walker, Texas Ranger. He was just very cool, collected. He knew he was a badass, but then he's faced with somebody who's even more badass.
Do you remember Jet Li in The One?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, that's a great movie. You should watch that. The concept is actually, it's, I'm trying to remember how does it start. It's that he is, like, that there's this multiverse, basically, and in every time one of your, various incarnations in all the different universes dies, their, like, energy kind of gets split among the remaining ones. And there's one guy who's going and jumping from reality to reality, killing all the other versions of himself and getting stronger and stronger until
Sounds
he's
a lot like Highlander.
Kind of, yes. It's like a Highlander, but across multiple dimensions, across dimensions, in a way. I don't know how Highlander, their immortality and all that works exactly. Have to watch that again, but yeah. So he comes to, like, Jet Li's a cop, and he comes to, this reality. And, Jet Li's just like, wow, I'm just getting really healthy and really getting stronger. And, like, finds himself able to do things he couldn't do before.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's a cool idea.
And so when he comes to this reality to kill Jet Li, I think they're down to I think they might be the last two, basically. And he's seeking to be the one, the bad guy is. And there's like...
Wait, so is the bad guy also Jet Li?
Yes. So it's Jet Li versus Jet Li, and it's there's like interdimensional police that are chasing the bad guy because we can't let him do this because it upsets the balance or something. You can't be the one. But I watched the beginning of that just a little while ago, probably a month ago. It's like, man, such a good movie, such a good premise for a movie too. I didn't see the whole thing.
Hey, so I'm trying to think form equals function here. And, like, are there little buttons and stuff that we should have on here? I'm looking at, like, kind of ways to design the handle. Would you call it the hilt on a sword? What do you call it? Is the handle a handle or is it a hilt? Or is the hilt a little guard that guards your hand?
No, I think that's actually called a guard. I think it's the hilt, or maybe maybe it's not the same.
The hilt of the sword is the handle. So I'm thinking there's a little trigger. There are like little triggers on there. Activate the sword. And there are little dials that you would switch up at the top of the hilt that would set, where you're going and how you're doing it. But then I'm thinking the actual guard, it's like a circular guard. So you have your circular guard, and that could be a series of dials too, right? That would allow you to choose what time frame you're going to. So those could be like a combination lock or something.
I like the idea that it's more of a Like you swing it at this arc and at that speed to get X result.
Well,
Like it's like magic work. You've got to.
well, so you do a little dance. You have to do like certain moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Like
But I'm trying to think of just for the design of the thing, like the reason I'm thinking of like buttons and stuff is just how does that affect like the design of it? Would that make us want to have something different? Well, you're right. Yeah, you could just do it as like a dance type of thing, and that could be incorporated even with the buttons or something.
It's kind of like why would it be a blade? That's just the thought of me to me is like why would it be a blade unless it's like you have to drag a frequency or it needs something that you would only do with a blade.
Well, no, that's a component of it. I'm not saying that I agree. I mean, you're cutting through something, but you got to calibrate it to decide what you're cutting through. But I think the motion, I think that should be an element of it. I'm just trying to think of design things. And one thing I was thinking is that armadillo shell thing. It looks to me like an armadillo shell, that knife that we looked at. And then we could actually have it could have a shell, like the sheath. Instead of it being a sheath, it could actually be attached to it, so that it's almost like it's got wings. Like the, not sure how to describe this. Let me draw this. Like you could have a sword like this, and there might be like there might be this thing here that's on top. It's just filling up space there, but the sword will actually, those little claw things will pop out. To add an extra kind of dimension to it. So they're like this. They actually are kind of look a little bit like wings or something. But it would also add a extra danger element to it. It would also make it look bigger. Just like, like when you've got let's see, we have a hilt. And then like a ton of, so it could kind of have extra blades that pop out. Oops. But I mean, that would just be more, not necessarily for fighting, though it could have a fighting aspect to it. But it could be like, but it would be a navigational system. It's like when you're flying, you have not rudders. What do you call them? What are the flaps on the wing of a airplane?
For sure they're not rudder.
Maybe it is rudder. That's definitely on a boat.
Or air flaps or something simple like that.
Probably not something that simple, though. Flaps on a wing. What are they called?
There is something called an air flap, though.
Oh, they're called flaps. So maybe it is something that simple. Okay. It's called a flap. Okay, never mind. It is simple. So yeah, you might have flaps on it. Makes it look almost like a ship, actually. Okay. We've apparently had somebody watching us this whole time. I don't know if that's just the default number.
Mm-hmm.
That could just be because we're on, we're considered watching it. If you're out there, we'd love to get some sort of chat from you. We actually have a chat function here. We could maybe talk to you a little bit. If you have any suggestions about how to make this sword look unique.
We decided it is a physical sword.
As opposed to
like a laser.
Like a laser sword? No, I think it's a physical sword. I think it's a physical sword. Though we did decide there was some way that they can hide it. They can it's either got a cloaking device or maybe it slips into an alternate dimension or something like that.
So what else have you been watching? You've been watching a lot of Marvel stuff.
That's been mostly what I watched. I watched at my friend Cheryl from last week. She recommended that I watch Future Man, which was starring Josh Hutcherson. But he basically plays a kid who, it's kind of like the Last Starfighter premise. They even they named that movie in the film, in the show, I should say, about how he basically gets to a point in this video game that nobody else beats, and then they recruit him to fight this war in time. But he has no skills. He has none of the skills that you would expect. They're confused by it, and it's comedy. And they do stuff like the future, the time travelers that come back to recruit him. They use a lot of video game language. This recruitment tool that they sent back is all based on how they fight. So they do stuff like nut punch, skull crusher. It's like they've got all these names for the punches and stuff that they're doing, and they fight like video game people. They jump into killing people and stuff real easy. Well, that was fun. I'm not a video game guy like you are. You might appreciate it more than me. I thought that the first half was really, really funny. Once they got to the video game stuff, I was less intrigued by it.
You ever watch The Guild?
Maybe. That sounds familiar, but is that a web series?
It was a web series, I think. I think it's on Netflix now. It was ages ago. It was like early 2000s with what's her name? Charlie from Supernatural.
Is Felicia Day?
Yes, Felicia Day. Yeah.
I did watch some of that. Yeah, I did watch the very early episodes when they were all like 2 minutes long.
Yeah, that was fantastic series. Like gamer related series. Actually, that movie, was it Go Player One or Ready Player One?
Yeah,
that was a really good video game. Actually, whatchamacallit, Wreck-It Ralph, the second one. Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I didn't see the second Wreck-It Ralph.
That was really
good.
Yeah. All around, I don't know. I get a kick out of those things. I don't get to play games.
I didn't dislike Wreck-It Ralph.
But the one where they're in the internet is pretty funny, I think. I don't know. I like this guy. I like this sword. I've made it kind of a open serrated non-traditional sword thingy.
Yeah. I think it needs more decoration, but that's just me.
And this is my vision of him like slicing through, the multiverse or something.
That's cool.
So I have like
Very
a crack
jagged.
over here, and like it's like a little. So, fun. All right.
Mine's a little bit more like a leaf.
Uh, ah, uh, who did we draw last? Okay,
The last thing we did was, well, let me look at my gallery. We did our angel, potato angel.
was that the only one that we've done? I have Cryomander and I've got Clavis. I don't have another.
Did we never draw Snoot? Well, we did.
It's Snoot, but Snoot was.
It wasn't Clavis. Wait. We did our practice ones that we didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was.
So there was
Yeah.
Snoot, there was Cryomander, and I
Right.
think those were before we went live, right?
Yeah.
And then the only one that we've done live was.
Yeah, oh, yeah, actually, no, I have it right there. I've got episode 1, Clavis.
Yeah. So yeah, Cryomander was from before that. You want to show off some of the designs that you came up with for the practice episodes?
I can. Let me save this one though. So what is this? So this is only our third month.
So
Second.
this is our second month.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know how to.
Well, we did a few practice episodes. I think what's going on is that's got too many of those.
Time Blade? His name.
Time Blade's our current one, yeah. We had Raziel, the talking squirrel, last week. What was the one that we made up? Well, we made up one with Troy, which was what was that one? I can look it up. Oh no, we did do one about the quantum cult. Yeah, that was the scientists in space.
Oh, the Halloween one.
Yeah, there was a Halloween one.
Yes. Okay.
But before that, the one we did with Troy was we did the Skill Keeper, which was what was her powers? Skill projection. She could lend skills to people.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
And that was kind of a skill vampire too, but like that was an interesting character. So we've actually come up with, even though we've only done 2 months, we've actually come up with a lot more characters because we've had guests and we've also had a Halloween episode. So I guess we could draw some of that stuff if we want. We don't have to just do Time Blade.
No, I'm okay with Time Blade. I've got my idea concept for him down now.
Uh-huh.
So it took me a while, but I think
Well, I have an idea here, and it's kind of taking form. Now I'm going to incorporate some of your idea into it. Yeah.
So here it goes. Here's our little video.
Oh yeah. Do we want to wrap up? It's been almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, and I was gonna start going to color.
Oh no! I'm saying I don't mind going longer. I have to be someplace at 2. I've got an hour and a half before I have to be anywhere. We can keep going. I'm just checking in with you.
Actually, you know what?
You have family obligations that I do not.
I've got actually a lot of obligations this weekend because this week was so busy at work.
So it's up to you, man. Do you want to keep going, or should we call it?
I should probably call it. I should be responsible.
Okay. Well, let's take a. This is what I came up with. This is my. Sort of, I think it needs. I like this. I know you may not like it. I like the hilt design that I'm coming up with here. I like these little dials and
oh, I like that. Yeah,
dials and triggers down here in the handle. I was thinking maybe having readouts here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I see that.
Whoa, hold on. Cancel that. Whatever the hell that was about. Okay. Apparently, if you do a circle, it does weird shit. Stuff. Okay, but over there, like maybe like readouts at the bottom of the blade. But I don't know. I like the wing idea, but I think there were too many wings on there. But I like having kind of a fold up or fold out wings or something. But I don't know. I like the dials.
Yeah, that was kind of I stole that like if this were the blade and it just kind of shoots out like sectionally. Like,
oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking with that. Like maybe it's not as ginormous, but gets as ginormous.
Oh, so it's not. So it's actually just a hilt that he carries around.
Well, I would like it to still be like. I mean, if it's like the size of like say a ukulele on his back, you know, and it's bigger.
Okay.
You know, a ukulele because that's a universal size everyone can relate to.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, just like a.
That's like, really, yeah. You got really. That looks really jagged. Oh, what's going on with this hidden layer here? Oh, it must not be on the right layer or something. Oh, that's what it is.
Oh, you keep trying to look at a layer that's.
That's what it is. Is I actually was on a different layer, but it was a layer that was hidden. So that means that whatever I was drawing something on that hidden layer. Maybe. I wonder if that's going to show up.
Oh, it doesn't show my whole transformation from my original. Like, it doesn't show all the layers that I was drawing on, just the one that I ended on. And I played through the video.
Well, anyway, I'm going to let you call it when you want to call it. Right. I just,
So, yeah, I guess I'm going to sign off.
Okay.
Do my Wakanda Forever. Sign off.
Well, we got at least a start. I mean, this doesn't have to be the end. I kind of feel like the drawing episodes, we don't have to just draw what we're drawing. We can always go back to old designs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's like I spent this entire time getting that together, so I could spend more time just drawing this and getting it in color, getting background, getting.
Well, if you're ever feeling, hey, let me say this: if you ever feel like just coming on and drawing, let me know and maybe I'll join you, like during the week or something.
Okay. Yeah. Normally, like I would just, if I had time and was like, I would just hop on Twitch and just. That's what my plan was.
You do it on, but you can do Twitch. You can do all of them. I mean, if you're working on the design,
oh, yeah, good idea. I could just use all of them.
Well, you could jump on, but I'm just saying, if you jump on, let me know, and if I'm free, I'll jump on too, and we can both do it.
Okay. Yeah, because I use color, but anyway. But
I'm just saying, from a, it might be. We can talk about this off the screen.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Are you gonna stay on?
Huh?
Are you gonna stay on, or are you headed off too?
No, I'm done. I want to work on some other stuff. But hey, True Conceivers, thank you once again for joining us for Heroic Origins Live Draw. We've been working on our character Time Blade, and we've been developing the Time Blade, and not as much the character design, which is basically just a guy in a suit. I think you should have a cowboy hat, though. I think you should have a cowboy hat.
To me, the trench coat's more important. So
no, it's like a trench coat and a cowboy hat. I think it should be a mix between David Tennant and Chuck Norris. Walker. Yeah, Walker, Doctor Who, And Dr. Walker. Or Walker Who, Texas.
Oh God,
Texas
that would be if you replaced David Tennant with Chuck Norris and Doctor Who. That would be the worst show ever.
Come on, the Karate Time Lord. Come on.
We could have had a whole discussion about Doctor Who. Actually, that's what we should have.
We could have.
Yeah.
Next, let's just tell people what's coming up next week, which we will do. We're going to do one after Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Okay, Saturday. And by the way, we try to do this every Saturday at 12:30 Eastern Time. We don't always succeed.
12:30 to 1.
Usually 12:30 and 1. I'm in Colorado, so for me it's between 10:30 and 11. But we're gonna next episode we're gonna do our plotcast, is what we call it, where we're gonna brainstorm a 6-episode or issue arc for our character, and we'll use random elements just like we did during the first brainstorm, but a little bit different format. So we've kind of come up with the character design, and now we're going to the visual design. We came up with the brainstorm the character last time,
right?
And now we're going to try to figure out what's the storyline. What's an interesting storyline for that character?
Yeah, we've got an origin, we've got a identity, we just need a story.
And then if we ever get around to it, we'll actually draw a comic book based on the character. So maybe that's what we should do, is like after several episodes, we should have everybody vote. It's like, which one would you like to see be a comic book?
Yeah.
And then they could vote, and we could try doing a full on.
What if we just decided we were going to do a comic book and just from the start just made up some characters? I know that this is, well, we can talk about this later.
We'll talk it off screen. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks once again. We'll see you next time on
Heroic.
Heroic? No, I'm looking for my buttons here. Wait, should I put up our screen? Yeah, here we go. There's okay. On the Heroic Origins podcast.
Yes.
Oh.